Another example of the challenge we face is obviously the Iran negotiations. And I apologize profusely for leaving early this morning. I really would like to be here because I love the exchange and I want to have more opportunity to talk with everybody. But we resume tomorrow morning. Actually, Wendy Sherman will be there today in some meetings, and I need to leave to get there and see whether or not it is possible to meet at a bargaining table with P5+1 and Iran in order to achieve an agreement that could actually prove that they have a peaceful nuclear program. Now, what happens if, as our critics propose, we just walk away from a plan that the rest of the world were to deem to be reasonable? And that could happen. Well, the talks would collapse. Iran would have the ability to go right back spinning its centrifuges and enriching to the degree they want, if that's what they choose. And the sanctions will not hold, because those other people who deem the plan to be reasonable will walk away and say, you do your thing, we'll do ours. You're not willing to be reasonable, we're going to do what we think is reasonable. And then you have no sanctions regime at all. So then there would be no visible, agreed-upon checks on Iran's nuclear program. I thought that was the whole purpose of putting the sanctions in place, was to get agreed-upon checks on the program. Now, obviously, you have to know that they are agreed. You have to know that you can enforce them. You have to know you have the insight. And that's our job, to provide an agreement that is as good as we've said it will be, that will get the job done, that shuts off the 4 pathways to a nuclear weapon: the pathway at Fordow, the pathway at Natanz, the pathway at Arak, and finally the covert pathway, which is the hardest of all, but which I can assure you we are deeply focused on. So this is not a choice, as some think it is, between the Iran of long ago and the Iran of today. It's not a choice between this moment and getting them to give up their entire nuclear program, as some think. It's not going to happen. It's a choice between a regime that has already developed its ability to master the nuclear cycle, that has already proven its ability to enrich, that has gone from 164 centrifuges in 2003 to over 19,000 today, but is only spinning 9,400 of them, but which would have the ability to free, if we don't have an agreement, just expand its program full speed ahead. And you know we can't accept that. So where does that take you? Anybody standing up in opposition to this has an obligation to stand up and put a viable, realistic alternative on the table. And I have yet to see anybody do that.